JD, you can start.
Okay. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Data Dialogues. And I'm very glad to have amongst us Dr. Sri Vyas, who is the project director at the Center for E-Governance, the Department of Public Administrative Reforms. And let me tell a little bit about him. He's passionate about implementing the digital initiatives, especially in the state of Karnataka. He currently leads several key projects like DigiLocker, the National Academic Depository, which you might have heard of during the NEP launch, National Education Policy launch. He also leads eSahmati, uh, the Mahiti Kanaja project of Government of Karnataka. He leads the Karnataka Open Data Initiatives and Infonomics. Not only this, he has played a vital role in the formulation of Karnataka's open data policy. He is a member secretary of the Data Governance Working Group at Government of Karnataka. And he is the recipient of the Digital India Award last year, Digital India Award 2022. And as you might be aware, it is awarded in recognition of exceptional contribution to the highest order in the field of e-governance given by the Honorable President of India. So congratulations, sir, for this award. He has worked, besides working for the government of Karnataka, he has worked in the field of corporate. He has experience in academia and research as well for about 17 years. He has worked on machine learning and blockchain, which has been many workshops which he has conducted at the Center for AI and Robotics, which is a Government of India facility set up by the Defense Research and Development Organization. Several of his papers on machine learning, information and communication technology have been published in reputed journals and books in the area of education, as well as the digital initiatives which the government have taken. Not only this, to top this, Google has recognized him as an expert in the field, and he has been appointed to lead the company's machine learning crash courses in India. So thank you, Dr. Sri Vyas, for accepting our invite. And I'm very thankful, especially because we all know that you are very much occupied in the upcoming state elections. So we welcome you to Data Dialogues, and over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And very good evening to all the participants. For the next 40-45 minutes, we will discuss about my topic is unique data initiatives, which are taken at the government level. So, yeah. So this slide does not require any explanation. We all know data is everywhere. So every stage, the junction, we see that the data is getting captured, and even this image says that how much digital data is getting generated every minute in this social media platform. Trust me, government is not less now. So every day, every hour, every minute, very huge data is getting generated at the government level. So, before today, I'm going to discuss some important, topics. How we have enabled, entitlement-based system, Suo Moto basis. How we are giving, achieving good governance in the state government and all. Before going to that, let me have a quick discussion from the stakeholder perspective. What is government looking? See, government is interested in the policy and implementation of various schemes for citizens of the state. The key issues for us is how to identify the targeted, beneficiaries, and how to ensure that those services reach to the citizens. And also, we all know that government takes a hell lot of time to deliver any service. So how can we reduce the time to reach the end user? and also for the document verifications, right? And another big concern for us is how to weed out this ineligible benefit. One is to ensure that it should, reach the person who is needy, the right person, and also we should ensure that ineligible beneficiary should be taken out of the system. These are the concerns for us. From industry side, what are the concerns? I don't know how many of you are from industry. Academia, I'm sure, because IISc team is there. So we know from the research perspective, getting data from government itself is a big thing. I should congratulate the Indian Urban Data Exchange team for wonderful work they have done in terms of publishing the useful data set in the public domain. So coming to the citizen, I would say that ease of living, that one word, ease of living is something what a citizen is looking for from a government. So whether it can be an information, which can be accessed quickly, or it can be any service from the government. So, and also any grievance is reported by the citizen, how it can be addressed, completely in a stipulated amount of time. So the barriers, we have many barriers, we don't have a data policy, we didn't have actually the data policy, resources, IT resources in a government sector is a big challenge. And every department, even though they capture data, maintaining the data and data cleansing, data standardization, data quality were a big challenge. So these were the challenges we had in the government system. So we realized 2 years back, we realized that there is a need of data governance. So we need a data policy. So the policy we published in July 2021, it's a state data policy, which talks about three things, basically shareable data and sensitive data and restricted data. So this is something as per our open data policy. So shareable data is something which we can publish in the public domain, like that does not contain any PI or PII, like personal information or personal sensitive information or identifiable information will not be there. And restricted is something that which we cannot be published in the public domain. It can be related to the national security, or it can be very sensitive data for the government, which we won't publish in the public domain. And the second one is the sensitive data, where actually this data can be shared with the consent of the data principal or the data owner. So we classified, basically classification of data was a big challenge. So we classified it in this level. And then we started building the system, how we can, it's a three-pronged approach. So we identified the people, who can actually take initiative in data. Every department, we identified a chief data officer, CDO we call. So we identified chief data officer in every department, every line department of the state. So as of now in Karnataka, as highest number of chief data officers, we have 150 plus chief data officers, and who is actually the driver of that, any data initiatives in the department. So his responsibility is to ensure that data security, data privacy, and also whatever data should come in the public domain should be published in the public. So he is one point of contact for us within the government. So he is a chief data officer who is at the rank of joint director. Okay. Then coming to the process, we, as I told you in the last slide, we have come up with a data policy for the state, which which talks about provision to publish data in the public domain, which we have captured by the citizens, and also which can be used for the policy formulation and also for the data-driven innovation and data-driven decision making. Then we have n number of platforms by government. Now every department has many applications, but I am going to discuss few unique initiatives which Karnataka has done in collaboration. Some of the projects are in collaboration with Government of India. So one such unique initiative is Kutumba, which is a social registry. I will talk in detail about that project in the upcoming slides. And Karnataka Open Data Portal, which is in similar lines with Indian Urban Data Exchange, but it's all about government data. Then Mahiti Kanja, it's a public information portal. How we have made citizens' life easier by giving the information in a structured way. And Samati is all about consent management platform. I will talk in detail about it. Then last one is data monetization platform, Infonomics, which we are still in the initial stages. Of course, we are taking collaboration with the IASC. We are working on this project. So first, I will talk about one of the interesting subject for today's topic, because in the abstract I told you why should a citizen file an RTI application to get some information about the market. Initially, what we thought, citizens were actually filing a physical application in post office or in a information office, to get some information. At that time, we thought probably building an RTI online portal will help citizens. And we built an RTI online portal. Even many departments are onboarded an RTI online portal. But later we realized, if the information can be disclosed, which is not sensitive, which can be disclosed under RTI, why should even a citizen file an RTI application to get that information? So there is a rule in RTI, there is section 4.2, which says that on Suo Moto basis, a department should voluntarily disclose the information rather than citizen coming and filing an RTI application to get it. So like this Suo Moto concept started, and this is the game changer that Kutumba, a social registry, to achieve this, entitlement-based benefits. So the objective of Kutumba is on a big level, it's a good governance. Basically, it's a good governance, and also to ensure that welfare schemes are, implemented to the needy people. Sometimes even without taking application from the citizen. So if you see the today's situation, how a traditional system, how departments are distributing the welfare schemes in the state. Any benefits to be given to the needy people, we see their socio-economic condition. When we say socio-economic indicators, it's a caste and income. And when I say income, it is not income of an individual, it is the income of a family. Okay, then assessment. How it is assessed? It is assessed by a sanctioning officer who will either go to the field and verify and approve it. It is up to his discretion whether it has to be approved or not. So, and he has to assess it for every application, for every scheme. Okay. Then eligibility, how we decide the eligibility, the proof of eligibility based on the documents issued by the government. See, we have only issued the documents, and we are only asking the citizens to resubmit the documents along with attestation by the gazetted officer. The document can be from the same department, or it can be from multiple departments, many departments. So it's a real pain for the citizens to go to the departments and get it attested and scan it, upload and submit. Again, the department has to take the printouts and verify, then decide whether that beneficiary is eligible to get that benefit or not. Okay. And targeting the beneficiary is still a challenge. The barriers to access the right people, and one more big concern is ineligible people in the system, so that they are not eligible to take the benefit, but they are taking the benefits. On the other side, the people who are supposed to get the benefits are not receiving the benefits. These are the problem statements in the traditional system. So Karnataka government come up with a social registry called Kutumba. Earlier it was called Family Database. So Kutumba is a social protection and entitlement system based on the under the Aadhaar Act section 4.4b2. So for the interest of participants, what is this Aadhaar 4.4b2? I tell you, Aadhaar can be captured by the citizens only based on two conditions. One is section 7, where any financial benefits will be given. If any department is notified under section 7, they can actually ask the citizens to enter the Aadhaar number, and they have to define the process, how they store the Aadhaar, how they process it, and all. Based on that, Aadhaar will actually notify Section 7. The other provision is for the central government as well as for the state government. There is something called 44B2, which is for the good governance, which is beyond financial benefits. For the good governance, we can capture, we can ask the citizens to give Aadhaar on a voluntary basis. So we use this provision and this Kutumba social registry system was built. So what is this Kutumba? It's a social registry. It also has a beneficiary registry and integrated with beneficiary management system, and any payment to any beneficiary in Karnataka, we don't ask for the bank account details because Aadhaar is the financial address. So if I know your Aadhaar number, I don't need your bank account details because Aadhaar is linked to your bank account. So we make the payment to DBT instantly, and it's a one level of security that it reaches to the right person with whom we have taken the Aadhaar. And while taking the Aadhaar, demo authentication will be done either through biometric or through mobile OD. Okay. So, and we also have a grievance redressal system called IPGRS, Janaspandana, where any grievances are there, which can be addressed through, either through an app or through a web application or by just calling 1902. And we have very well defined the system for the grievance redressal last year. So I think I can skip this slide because of the timing constraint. It just says that we started in 1819 and we started building on master data management in 1920, and it started with connecting 18 different databases in Karnataka. See, there was database about education by SATs, and there was a database about health by health department, and there was a database of government employees in HRMS, human resource management system. There was IT department which was maintaining the database. There was Aadhaar database. So we know that there were many databases within the government, and why each time the citizen has to give same document multiple times to multiple departments. So we government thought that we can connect all these databases together, and we can give services on entitlement basis. So, and 21-22 is included in the budget, and as of today, there were about 25 systems is connected, and 10 systems from Government of India is connected, and many schemes, more than 100 services, more than 50 schemes, it is serving on an entitlement basis. So what are the objectives of social registry? Kutumba, if you see, one is business process re-engineering. I told you, we wanted to simplify the process, and also it should be a decision support system based on the rules we set. So that was the one of the primary objective. And we always, whenever we talk about e-governance, Estonia is the country which we look up to. Okay, so Estonia is a 99.9 or 99.1% e-governance, everything online. So they are 99% because there are three services which are not providing online presently. Those three services are, one is marriage certificate, and the second one is divorce certificate, and the third one is the land record certificate. These are the three services. They are doing it offline. Other than this, everything is online. It is one of the European countries, Estonia. It's a very small country, but it is 99.9% e-governance. So they follow the principle, ask only once. So why should we ask multiple times, the citizens to submit a data, which is already in the government? So ask only once is the principle we adopted here. And as I told you, weed out ineligible benefits. So whether it is a scholarship, whether it is a pension, whether it is housing benefits. We know there are so many ghost beneficiaries in the system. How to weed out so that that budget can be utilized very well for the needy. Then evidence-based plan. See, most of the times the government come up with schemes and services based on their guess, or based on the limited data, the survey data that is available with the government. The survey may be conducted a couple of years back, and the plan will be done. Planning will be done today, which may not actually align with the present situation. So we wanted to come up with something called evidence-based planning. So that is also one of the objectives. And the last one is Suo Moto delivery. I already told you, Suo Moto delivery. Why should a citizen ask for something which is entitled? Why can't we do it on a Suo Moto basis? So these are the 5 objectives of the system. And if you see the functional structure on the left side, you can see that owner department databases. So, for example, housing data, we take it from housing department, Rajiv housing and all, and caste and income, which comes from the revenue department. So they have a very good system called AJSK, Atal Janasnehi Kendra AJSK database. So if you enter an RD number, they will tell you whether it is valid, when invalid, what is the income of the family and all. Then farmer and landholding attributes also we have taken from the one database. We have fruits where more than 80 lakh farmers data is available, very rich database where we know each season what crop is grown in a survey number. I'm talking about the entire state, any district, any taluk, any panchayat, any village you talk, any survey number you give, and you can see what is grown in that plot. What is the borders of that particular plot, and who is the owner, how much land he has, and how many benefits he has taken from the government, and how much loan he has taken, how much subsidy is given, everything is captured. Even nowadays, the banks, before giving loan to the farmer, they know that what is his, credibility, how much land he owns, because civil may not work well with the farmers, that, right? So, likewise, we have multiple databases, Social Security Pension, one of the very good database we have, and PDS, based on which actually the social registry was built on, the public distribution system, very rich data. So on the right hand side, you can see the objectives. I already discussed those objectives, and I will take each use case for each of those objectives, and I tell you how it is being achieved. Okay, basically, it's a social registry, and which can actually enable entitlement, entitlement managed system. And Suvidha is something a scheme discovery. See, Suvidha is a platform to know what I am entitled for. Say, if I say that I am a farmer, aged about 45, and I own 1 acre of land. If I enter, if I answer some 3-4 questions, the Suvidha will tell which are the schemes I'm entitled for, which I'm eligible for. Not only that information, which can also allow citizens to apply for those schemes. Okay. So then I told you about DBT and grievance literacy. So what it does, what Kutumba does. Kutumba is connected with multiple databases. It actually collects the data and own it and share the data with different departments. Okay. So we have a data governance committee. So based on the committee approval, the data can be the department has to mention for what purpose they need the data. And many times we don't share the data. We will just say whether whatever information they have, whether it is correct or not, yes or no kind of responsibility. And if the data is really crucial, then we will require that we will share the data. Then based on the data we have, Kutumba actually built a federated citizen database, which contains personal information, which contains their family information, it contains their financial status, so many more things, whether it's date of birth, whether it's marital status, and its family details, its income, all those things. And identify, the fourth component is identify the beneficiary. See, at government, the primary objective is to deliver the services and ensure that benefit will reach the benefit. So identifying that, inclusion and exclusions, all those things will be very easy to the work. And remove, if a person is taking multiple benefits which is not entitled for, then remove those beneficiaries. Then prioritize. There is something called needs. Say for example, there are 100 people and you want to give some benefits to only 30 people. So how will you decide to whom should you give those benefits? Because of the budgetary constraint, you cannot give it to 100 people, but you want to give only for the 30 people. So who will decide that whether whom should be given the benefit? So if the discretionary power is given to an sanctioning officer, then there can be bias. We all know that. So Kutumba will actually come up with a need score. So if not 100%, at least it come up with a 60 to 70% accuracy. Who is that person who actually needs that particular benefit? So based on that, so that the benefit can be given on an entitlement basis, and in a way that it is actually behaving like a decision support system for the government. And select the beneficiary and provide the beneficiary details whichever is required. So how it does, the core of the social registry is Kutumba, is the center, and many government systems are connected through API, Kutumba APIs. So there is a forward and backward. Very interesting. See if some department is taking data, say social security pension is department is taking some data from us, how much from the or data from birth and death to know their age. And if some data which is not with us, with Kutumba, but social security pension as, then that data will be taken back from taken from the social security pension back to Kutumba. So there is a forward and backward integration. So that's how the Kutumba database gets enriched over a period of time. And departments can verify and validate citizens' data. Even if we have, there are something called gold data set, which is verified, and some data set which is not verified. That department can verify and they can validate, and they can again inform Kutumba about it to an API, and we will update that in the database. Yeah, these are very interesting things. I told you already. Ask only once, VPR. We will see each use cases how ask only once. So presently it is more than 5.5 crore the citizens residents of Karnataka are covered in the Kutumba database. It is the 80% of the citizens of the state are covered. Only in the urban area, this coverage is less because maybe those people may not need any benefits from the government, or maybe their financial status is above average. So those excluding them in the rural area, Kutumba has a very good coverage. More than 1.5 crore families are recognized in Kutumba, and in fact 1.75 crore houses GPS locations are there. So we know which are the location, where it is located, while giving some benefits that is also captured. Then integrations, as I told you, it is in the State Department about 25 systems are connected, and with Government of India, there are about 10 systems it is connected. Then more than 75 plus schemes are enabled through Kutumba, and more than 100 services are delivered through using Kutumba as of today. And the biggest advantage is it is the single source of truth. You don't have to ask citizen about whether it is a what data, what proof we need to ask from them. Then I told you ask only once. Okay, so Ayushman Bharat is something that which National Health Authority is distributing that Ayushman Bharat cards. It was very difficult to identify actually who is actually required, but how to ensure that it will reach to the needy people. So Kutumba has Now, if they just enter one ration card ID number, we can actually auto-populate everything with the Kutumba database, and that Ayushman card can be distributed based on the data available. And we ask only once. We don't need to ask them multiple times to distribute. And business process re-engineer, I can business process re-engineering is how can we simplify that process so that decision can be taken based on a rule as quickly, so that we can save that manpower, we can save that cost of that manpower, and also the service delivery gap can also be reduced. So objective selection, I told you about needy score and Suo Moto delivery. So BPR is something playing good role in Kutumba. Maybe you have seen many private players and government departments. They say that data-driven innovation, data-driven decision making. But we have actually implemented the data-driven decision making. How it is possible? You see, if any scheme has to be announced before Kutumba, it's a secondary data based on the survey. You know that sometimes the survey conducted in 2011, that report we got it in 2015. By the time that report was with us and the data they given was out, so it may not serve the purpose, right? So then eligibility criteria was also subjective method. Now it is very objective, and coverage of the beneficiaries, errors, which is drastically come down, and time taken from idea stage to scheme finalization. Earlier it was in months or in years, but now it is just in a couple of weeks it is possible, right? And financial implication, if you see, there is a high variation than what is planned and actual delivered, but now it is minimal variation. So it's all because we have data, we have data in a centralized manner, and we are able to deliver these kind of services. See, data-driven approach, applications earlier it was taken manual or in an online mode, even though some applications are taken online, but it was processed offline and service delivery was not online, right? Now it is either online or Suo Moto on entitlement basis. Eligibility, earlier it was minimum 3 to 4 documents you need to find out, and you need to scan. You need to attest it and scan it, upload it, and again go back to the government officers for follow-ups. And now it is no documents or very minimal documents. If it is Suo Moto, we don't ask for any documents. If it is online, few documents may be required, but not in the form of scan and upload. Just enter those ID numbers, we can fetch those. Eligibility assessment, purely data driven, no field visit is required, because we know now, who is that, who is he or she, what is his age, what is their family income, what is their, whether he is an income tax payee or not, whether he is a government employee, whether he has taken any benefit from the government. All those data is available, in the Kutumba system. So decision making is not by a human or by an officer at the taluka level. It is a rule based, because I can give you an example. What happens when the discussion is with the officer? See, two students, they are studying under a same university, same course, in a same college. They have got scholarship different amount. One has got only 10,000, another one has got 70,000. Even though they belong to the same category, same course, same branch, same university, and it is because of the discretion of the sanctioning officer. But now it is rule based. It cannot be different for two students which are studying in the same university, same category, and same course, right? Time taken to deliver the service, we know it is more than a year sometime. Now it is in weeks, in a week or two, the service delivery can happen. So implementation errors, it is low, I can say, if not nil, it is low. Yeah. Then, these are all things I think you can go through it. I will stress upon one thing: Karnataka as a electronic delivery of citizen services. About 850 services are made online through Seva Sindhu application, that is backend is service plus. Okay, so Seva Sindhu is like a gateway to get many services from government. So now Seva Sindhu won't ask many documents from the citizens. Please understand. So Seva Sindhu is connected to Kutumba. Anything, Seva Sindhu pass a ration card number or Aadhaar number. we can actually share the data with Seva Sindhu, and so that Seva Sindhu can auto-populate those details. So citizen don't need to enter those data, key in those data, or upload data multiple times. So it can save so many things. You can go through these slide. I will share it with the organizer. See, if you see the calculation, there is one scheme called Amruta Jyoti scheme, which is announced recently. It says that, for a BPR, BPL card holder family, I think 75 units of current should be given for free. And if you see, to implement that scheme before business process engineering, the document scanning, printing, uploading, field visit, you can see that calculation that expenditure is going to be around 46.5 crore. Whereas after BPR, this verification is instantaneous. Field verification is not required because system does the field verification, and the cost is 44 lakh crores savings compared to the earlier system. So another important thing is evidence-based. So how can we do evidence-based plan? So before formulating any scheme, you can see the data, who's actually, what kind of schemes is required, how many such needy people are there, whether whom should be given and how much should be given. All these evidence-based planning, implementation, evaluation is possible because of the data, the power of data. I can give you an example. I told you that Amruta Jyoti scheme, 75 units of free power to BPL household. What is the condition? That family should be a BPL family. Income limit should be, say something 30, their income should be less than 32,000 and no poverty. So because we know whether that family, we know which is the family, whether they hold a BPL card or not, we know. And income limit, we know whether they are paying income tax, and also we know what is their family income through the caste and income database, and we know whether is there any due from the power to Escom. So 11 lakh beneficiaries are already distributed this service for the competitive scheme. And coming to the scholarship, very interesting. I tell you, the present CM very took over last year. So he announced a scheme called, Chief Minister Raita Vidyanidhi scheme. So the kids of the farmer should be given scholarship. There is some range for it. For example, somebody is studying general degree courses, they should be paid 15,000. If somebody is doing engineering, they should be paid some 30,000. If somebody is doing medical, some 50,000. Some rates are discussed. Then how these schemes are actually implemented, even without asking the student how the services are delivered. So similarly, for auto and taxi drivers, the scheme eligibility condition says that it is the student should be studying in post-matric course, and parent occupation should be it should be a driver, auto or cab with a valid license. With the help of transport database, we know who is the driver, who is running the cab. And we know with the help of ration database, we know who is their family members. And with the help of education database, we know what is there, what they are studying. So based on that, the beneficiaries are given the benefits without even asking them, the application, without taking an application from them. Similarly, it is extended for the handloom weavers and powerloom workers. So scholarship for the agriculture laborers, proposed solution. See, earlier there was no data, electronic data were not available. Then converge the data with Narega, Mahatma Gandhi Narega scheme, Eastern Data and Revenue Department. When we merged the data, we did the exclusion, whatever based on the criteria, and deduplicate. Then who is the people who actually that scheme should be delivered. So beneficiary targeting on request, 20 plus schemes are delivered. Suo Moto, more than 15 schemes are delivered. See this one example which I was talking about. On the first week of December 2021, when the new CM announced the scheme, the day guidelines was issued in the first week of December, and second week of December, the eligibility list who are actually eligible students, the list was ready. Within a week time, the list was ready because, as I told you, we know who are the farmers through farmer database. We know who's their family members through ration card, and we know through education department what they are studying. Okay. So then third week of December, the dispersal of the scholarship happened to DBT. Within a week time, the disbursement of scholarship to more than 7 lakh students happened on a Suo Moto basis. See, DBT, as I told you, it is only if you know the Aadhaar number, then we don't need the bank to read this, right? Because Aadhaar is the financial address. So imagine in 3 weeks time, or less than 10 days time, the scholarship is distributed to 7 lakh students without even asking for money. Don't you think it's it's a real service to the citizens of the state who are staying here, from the government? It is just possible because databases connected. And another topic we'd like to discuss is deprivation index. I think I will skip it because of the time. I'll just say, if we know the conditions, land holding is more than 5 acres, whether it is irrigated, whether it's paying tax or not, and any member of the government, family is government employee, that will come to know through HRMS database. So likewise, we have 25 databases connected. So we will come to know if somebody is taking benefit of BPL card, and one of his family member is a government employee, then he is not entitled for that benefit. So that is how to take out that. It's all an example of that. Due to respect of time, I'm skipping. So plugging revenue leakage, how this is one of the primary objective, how to eliminate the ghosting. You can see the number, the ration card, more than 3 lakh ghost beneficiaries are removed from the, priority household ration. So it's a savings of 30 crore. And if you see the social security pension, in one district, in one taluka, there were more than 20,000 ghost beneficiaries. Actually, as per the Department of Birth and Death, those people are dead, but the pension was taken to their name. So it's a huge savings to the government, and also it was, enabling the people who actually need it. Then housing, were not eligible for those housing schemes, but so there was more than 1,000 such, beneficiaries are. Okay, so is my screen visible?
No, it is not, Dr. Shivyas.
Okay. It says that.
Now it is visible.
Visible?
Yeah, now it is visible.
Yeah. One minute. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I don't know, something is wrong with the system. Fine. So coming to the the data privacy aspects. So Kutumba is privacy by design. We follow 7 foundational principles which are to be followed in Kutumba. Then rights of the data principle, because as a data principle, you have the right to see what data is there in the Kutumba, and you can also, there is a provision to correct that and raise a grievance if something it is not correct. In data security, if we see, there are 3 kinds. One is open access, restricted access, and consented access. So coming to the open access, we have something called Mahiti Kanja portal. As I told you, under RTI section 4.2, so most of the information, say in a Belgavi district, in a Chikodi taluka, in a Rayo, some village in that panchayat, which is the school available and how many students are studying, how many are boys, how many are girls, and how many dropouts, whether there is a toilet in the school and which teacher, who is the teacher, who is teaching which subject, to that level granular data, and also n number of things like 530 types of information from the government is available in a single platform called Mahiti Kanja, and it's all real-time information. When API call, as and when the citizen asks for the data, it will connect to the department database and we show it. It's a very structured data. So because of this, there are about 33% of the RTA applications are reduced in the state, and it's a step towards good governance. And please note it, there is no user registration required. We don't track who are you and who is, placing, unless you need a personalized service, right? And Karnataka open data policy, I told you, I can also share a copy with the Center for Public Policy at IASC about the policy which we have come up with, to improve this. So this is something the policy says that there are 3 levels of committee. One is data governance working group in the government, and data governance executive committee, and data governance steering committee. So which decides actually who should access what kind of data, what kind of schemes and all. So it's a data governance structure. And then Karnataka open data, we have published multiple data sets in the public domain. So how we have achieved, we have identified chief data officers, and we have established a project monitoring unit. Through that, it checks for any personal data, and it comes to the state portal, and it also will be available through data.gov. So I think I'm running out of time. Next 10 minutes, I will discuss about this one of the very interesting subject called Sahmati consent platform. Sahmati is basically for the data which requires your permission. Your permission means as a data principal, as a data principal, I should know who is accessing my data and for what purpose they are accessing my data and how long they are accessing. This absence of this data, sharing and control framework, because of that, our data is, lying with many people, right? So for that, we have come up with a consent framework. So before sharing any government, any of the personal data, we will take the consent, not the data. Please understand, the data is already with us. We ask for the consent, and if the consent is given, then only the data will be shared with the service provider, so that benefit will be received by the citizens. So it's basically a consent platform which holds the consent, and it is data blind. See, if you are as a aspirant, job aspirant, if you are giving your consent to share your degree certificate with, say, Infosys, why should we see the data as it is? The data which is encrypted using the public key of Infosys will flow through eSanity to the data seeker, right? That is what we mean to say data blind. And then benefits of data eSanity, you can see data minimization and purpose limitation. If somebody is asking your data for a specific purpose, then they should use it only for that purpose. Otherwise, they are legally, bound to take action. Lawfulness, as per the personal data protection bill, in line with that DAPA framework we are coming with. Accurate data, because we are not asking the citizens to upload the data. Please understand. The data is coming from the data source. So, for example, the farmer data is coming through proofs, and educational data, we have a NAT database, more than 50 million records are available. So the data will directly flow through the source. Only the consent will be asked by the citizen, and that encrypted data flows through the Sahmati. Storage limitation. See, if you have given consent to store the data only for a period of 15 days, then on the 16th day, that data seeker should not store the data, and we will ensure the data will be deleted on the application. The data will not be available. And accountability, even if they keep it locally, then through audits they are caught, then legal action will be taken. Yeah, there are 2 use cases. Next 5 minutes I will close it. There are 2 use cases I'll discuss. One is document verification for the students. Another one is crop information for the for the farmers. See, one is, say somebody a Toyota company wants to hire a mechanical engineers who are graduated in the year 21-22 in mechanical engineering from a specific university, say Bangalore University. So then we know who is actually studying in Bangalore University, who are studying mechanical engineering, who has scored more than 75%. That is the condition set by the Toyota. Then we will actually run that query. That query will go to the, in the step number 2, you can see consent manager, and that query will be run on the NAT database, and the eligibility list of such graduates will be shortlisted. and the request for consent will go to only those. Say, for example, if there are 600 graduates who fall under that query, who are eligible under that query, and we ask for consent by sending a request message and also an automated call. Out of 600, if say 150 people will give the consent to share their data with us, then only those 150 people academic data or whatever data, will be encrypted and will be shared with Toyota so that Toyota can do targeted interview. It can be applicable to any kind of, say Infosys, say for any IT people, or even during admission, if the data can be captured. So it is like the data seeker is asking and the data principal is giving the consent. The other way around, even say for example, a candidate was actually given an interview with Microsoft and only document verification is pending, even with Karnataka Public Service Commission. Document verification takes a time. So if we give consent on SEMATI and that particular organization is registered as a TPSP and SEMATI portal, then that data will be shared from the data source to the data seeker to SEMATI, right? So this is the proactive case where the citizen is coming and is logging in through single sign-on and just saying for what purpose, what document, granularity is there. Out of 8th semester, I want to share only 7th and 8th semester marks card, not for the first 6th semester. That is possible. Okay, that kind of granularity is there, and that data can be shared with the employer with the consent, right? Similarly, for farmers, today, say that Big Basket wants to procure 100 quintal of tomato, which is grown in the Chikbalapur area. So we know who is growing tomato in Chikbalapur area and who knows, we also know how much acre land he owns as a farmer and which crop he is growing and which is when it can be harvested, we know. So based on that, we can actually generate a list of farmers who can, provide that product, whatever is required. And based on the consent or through an FPO consent, we can share the data with the data seeker, right? So the last point I would like to talk about monetization. It is still in the nascent stages. We are in the initial stage because it is not actually selling the data. It is like platform as a service, data as a service, or application as a service. Somebody who wants only the analytics but not the actual data, because it's a debatable topic. One should not think that government is actually selling citizen data. We are not here to sell the data, but it's an additional revenue for the government. The data which analytics can be shared is again, it is not at the individual level, it's an anonymized data. So we are coming up with a platform and sandbox in collaboration with your organization. So yeah, recently we have got Digital India Award from the President for some of the initiatives we have taken on open data and all. So before I open the platform for question and answer, I would like to conclude. See, service delivery has become much faster and without asking citizens to file an application. Say, for example, there is a flood in the Belgaum region 3 years back. And we know who are the farmers area who are actually affected by that flood, right? And we know which area is affected and what is the survey number, which crop was grown, and how many acres is owned by the particular farmer. So based on that, actually flood relief fund was given on a proactive basis, on a Suo Moto basis, without even asking a farmer to visit a taluka office or file an RTI application. So farmer doesn't even know how he received the money. So that kind of things, are started in the government. So of course there are a lot of challenges, quality of the data, standardization, interoperability. So we are working in the direction. So that's all from my side. I think if any questions, we can have a discussion. If somebody is really interested, we can connect after the session and we can have a in-depth discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Srivyas. It was really a very enlightening presentation, I should say. I mean, I've come to know how many initiatives the government takes, and many a times we are not aware of all these things as citizens. So it was really eye-opening. And also, like, this is exactly what we at IUDX say, to harness the power of data for public good. So I think you are walking the talk here, right? So what we are thinking, I think we converge on that point as well. So I have few questions for you, but before that, maybe I'll ask any of the participants if you have any questions. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Jyotirmai. Hi, Srivyas sir. This is Vasant from IODX. Thank you very much for the presentation. I see a lot of synergy with the work that you had done with what we have. I have a couple of questions related to the consent manager service, the e-Sahamati part. So this is pretty much a little specific towards how you had taken care on getting the consent from the farmer. Like for example, farmer are like the student. Like in the flows, like in slide 30, 53, 54, you had mentioned that there is some sort of e-signature done by the owner of the data.
Right.
So how are you capturing that? Is there any technical details that you can share? Because we are working on similar lines and would like to understand what is being practiced within the government to help our knowledge on that.
Right. See, presently what we are doing as a data principle, you have to give your consent. Then we will ask you to enter your Aadhaar number, and a OTP will be sent to the Aadhaar linked mobile number. And if you enter that OTP, then done. You are actually signing the document electronically. So that is treated as a legal document as per the IT Act. So we will ask a citizen to e-sign it. If not, now we are also working with FPOs in case of farmers. On behalf of the farmer, some FPO can actually e-sign that, give the consent, and collect that consent manually or physically the consent. If it is a illiterate and he cannot do that, but ideally, he has to enter his Aadhaar number and OTP will come, and he will e-sign that. So we know who has signed. Tomorrow, that particular citizen should not say that I have not shared my consent, I have not given my consent, but you have shared my data. So this is the practice we are doing. If you want any details, I can share it with you.
Thank you. So that would be wonderful to have the details. I can connect with you separately for that. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions from the participants? Okay, so maybe I'll have some questions, Shivya. So, when you speak of one country, European country, which has 99% of of the
Estonia.
of e-governance achieved, yeah, Estonia, right? So, do we have a number for the state or the country? Are you aware of any such numbers?
Which number you are asking about? I'm sorry.
Like when you say that 99.1%.
That I can share it with you. Not a problem. That I can share it with you. So excluding three, they are completely online.
Right. But if we say speak about Karnataka, do we have any such percentage, like 50%?
I told you now it is like still in government in India we are only calculating the number of services that are made available online. If that is the question, I can say 850 plus services we are made online. But according to me, we should also see the other way around. How many services are still offline, which cannot be obtained online, like Estonia. So that we don't have as of now. But some study, there is something called NESDA, 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 National E-Government Service Delivery Assessment Framework. So that will give you a complete insight state-wise how many services are made available, and that you can go through NESDA.
Okay, yeah, thanks. And in Kutumba, do you also issue a like family ID as well, like a Aadhaar card, right? Is it Does it work
See,
like
I'll
that?
tell you, see, this Kutumba ID is nothing but a ration card ID. So, okay, it's a ration card. If you don't have a ration card, you can create a Kutumba ID online.
Okay. Okay.
APL or APL you can get. And see, initially, taking Aadhaar was a very difficult. So, and we know PDS was very well maintained database. Started with Kutumba, and slowly the multiple databases. Now, for most of the things, because of Aadhaar 4.4, we know the hash of Aadhaar of any person, and we can get the details. So the idea is we need one primary key, whether it is Aadhaar or ration ID or family ID. The primary key is the critical thing. And most of the cases now in Karnataka, it is Aadhaar.
Okay. And sir, for e-Sahmati, this consent mechanism is in line with what MATE is suggesting. So it's in line with that, right? Okay. So I just wanted to know, do you have a separate team which looks after the consent mechanism architecture as such?
See, Karthik is the right person for you. We can have a detailed discussion.
Okay. Okay. Okay, maybe we'd like to understand a little bit more about the consent.
Yeah, I know it was in a very hurry. I took it actually, but we can have a discussion when you are here, probably after elections. We can have a detailed discussion and demonstration also about this.
Sure. And one last question from my side, sir, is you talk about data quality, right? So we are also trying to develop a data quality assessment tool. So I'm sure you also face these challenges, of poor data quality, and of course there is a cost also involved when we upload this kind of poor uh, quality data, and it impacts the solutions and the services at the end. So any initiatives which your team is taking specifically for data quality?
I know data collection, this is data correction is a very costly affair. So see what we are doing now, as I told you, we are source level itself, we are ensuring that the data is taken properly, rather than asking the citizen to give the data. We are ensuring that the validated data, physical source, academic data. We don't ask any students to give data because we know what is the data, because it is university has uploaded, signed it, each document. So we take it from that. And if you ask a citizen whether you are paid income tax, yes or no, then mostly many people will say no. But now we have, tied up with income tax department. Income tax department will say that whether this person has paid tax or not. So likewise, we are actually trying to work with the single source of truth, where the owning department, whoever is, whether he's a government employee or not, who can tell other than HRMS? HRMS can tell me whether I'm a government employee or not. So we believe the data is correct. However, as and when things are evolving, certain grievances are coming, and we are also working towards the correcting the data. But the challenge is about the legacy data. Going forward, anyways, we have so many checks and balances while capturing the data, but the challenge is about the legacy data. So if the data is not digitized, or if the data is not stored in a single centralized database, what? It's still difficult. Those are the challenges.
Okay, so I see that a lot of data silos are being broken, right? When you say that, ask only once. So basically, it's the philosophy of breaking the data silos and making innovative applications which basically take data sets or data from multiple sources, right? Yeah, so that's very interesting. And right. So one final thing, sir, when it comes to data privacy, right? When you are releasing these data, let's say let's say startup is there, and they are trying to create a solution for, let's say, uh, beneficiaries of the PDS, for example, right? And so in that case, do you use some techniques to make it private before you, or anonymize the data before you actually release it, like differential privacy, for example, or some other techniques?
See, as of now, we are not sharing data sets available in with private.
Okay.
However, recently we got a request from for a better cars. So again, it depends on the committee to cause is it genuine cars, in with the government. Then yes, no kind of service. If they ask some question, we say yes or no as per the data. Many times it works. Okay, many times the yes no will also work. So that is the kind of data we are doing. So to answer your question, with private players, as of now, the Kutumba data is not shared. However, the data sets which can be published in the public domain, we are sharing. Like as I told you when I met you last time, Ninja is one agri-tech company. They are actually working with us, agri-tech line. And there are Hello Verify is a verification, document verification company, background verification agency. For Wipro, they are working with us on the. So if any private company wants to access the data of citizens, they should request us to be registered as a TPSP, third party service provider or data seeker. So there is a committee who actually validate, and with the consent of the citizen, we share the data for private. For government, it is understood that their consent is already taken while asking for some scheme or service.
So for Ninja Card, for example, I'm sure it is beyond a simple yes or no, right? So
yeah, that is beyond yes or no. That is, actually you'll get granular data.
Right. So since Kutumba datasets would have personal information, right? So how do your team ensures that it is anonymized?
Yeah, see, the Ninja Card is interested in the farmer data. They are giving some kind of loans. They are procuring some vegetables. So they want the farmer data, whether it can be crop, lot data, their financial data to give loans. So what we do, we ask for the consent from the data principal. So those people of Ninja Card, actually they are in the field. They only go to the farmer and encourage them to give consent. So because they know from who is actually requesting for the data. So the field engineers of Ninja Card, at least initially, they meet the farmers and they, our team also went there and educated how to give consent. Once the consent is given, then these people actually can get access to the authentic data. Because internally, again, they have tied up with some bank. Okay, so the bank needs authentic data from single source of truth. So in that way, yes, after with the consent of the citizen, we are sharing data with you.
Right. Understood. Yeah, thank you. So any more queries, any more questions from the participants? I believe no more questions. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Srivyas, again, because I know what you have told, you are holding key positions for the state elections. So we understand how important it is for you. These works are, and still you have found time for us. So thank you once again. Maybe after the elections are over, we will have more discussions with you and your team.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to
Yeah. So Namrata, you can stop the recording, and thank you to the participants for your patient listening, and we'll close now.